Welcome back. This is Ryan Going Rogue, RGR, and I'm doing things a little bit differently today. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm just going to go through the film here because there's so many plays to look at this week. I'm probably going to have to break this up into another 2 videos, and I just wanted to get after it rather than filming in the whole 9 yards. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the sub, the notification, as well as leave a comment, and leave that thumbs up if you like this video. I'm going to start here on the positive side, and that is because there's so much that we can look at on the opposite end, but what we started with, and again, this is a play early in the second quarter, which has been kind of the magic time for this team so far this year, and this is a look at the touchdown play. Now, what you'll see is that Mahomes is here in the shotgun with everybody broken out. This is a 5 wide look, and you can see that there's just the base 5 linemen up against 4 pass rushers. And this is one of the rare times, this is one of, I think, 3 snaps in the second quarter that the Colts actually played zone. And this is a good reason why they went back to it later. A lot of man in the second. They're about 50-50 in the third quarter, and this is a good reason why, because this clearly didn't work. What you're going to find is that they're trying to drop into too high, but definitely a lot of underneath zones, trying to take away some of the earlier reads. And the line right now still has Wiley in it, still has Cam Irving early, and they hold up all right, at least initially. We're going to take a look at this in not full speed. And as they get started here, at the initial snap, initial pocket looks okay. A lot of downfield looks from over on the right-hand side, as well as here, the tighter splits on the left-hand side. That's really where this play is going to get made. Shady's going to pull up short here and give Mahomes, that is, a tighter option to come back to if needed. As we roll forward here, the initial pressure has broken down on the outside, and they are flushing him. He's trying to run back to his left because he knows he's got Shady there, just kind of waiting. The zones have all dropped off. You're looking at a couple of guys up here looking at Travis Kelce. Your one's on the outside, and you have a nice matchup here where 2 guys paying attention to the wide receiver and have left LaShawn McCoy nearly by himself. What's surprising here is right now, Byron Pringle, of all people, is bracketed, and you're going to see that dissolve here in a minute as Mahomes does what he does best, and this is, again, before he was hit and he was able to run around. He's going to reverse his field and actually get back outside of the right-hand pressure, and that's where the play starts to come together. The O-line cleans up a little bit as Schwartz gets a push block as he comes closer up to the line of scrimmage, and they have some space here. Again, some defenders here underneath, but this is the guy that you're going to eventually look for. What's happened is 3 have dropped over to this side to the deep option, which is kind of strange because, again, this is a throw that Patrick Mahomes makes all the way across his body, across the field, but nearly no one else makes. And clearly they're aware of it to the point where they're over-guarding the opposite side of the field. As we roll forward and he starts to press up towards the line of scrimmage, he knows he has room. And right here, as he's delivering the ball, what he's seen is one guy charging up. Mahomes could have probably run at least back to the yard marker here, but these defenders are in the corners and over here on this receiver, and Pringle is doing a very good job. As we roll forward slowly, you'll see he's separating himself and just settling down just a little bit to grab that extra piece of separation. The ball's in the air on his way. He knows he's going to have to dip down for it, so he goes to a knee and makes a very nice catch. Great play. When you look at the other angle, you're going to see again how just far off everyone is and what a difference that makes. They're not even in the screen at this point. And so really it's 5-on-4, and yet there still is pressure applied, and that's part of the bigger problem we'll get to in the next play. A little separation, Schwartz cleans up. LDT's coming down to try and clean that up too. He just can't catch up. And right here is where Pat Mahomes is seeing back turned away from Pringle. Pringle can settle down to this side. You've got a medium defender here, and the corner is pretty much covered. As he rounds and looks just about ready to fire, again, this triangle is covered, but Pringle's allowed himself to separate just enough that with Mahomes' throw, and again, look at this throw. 1 foot off of the ground, 1 on, just a baseball throw. That's all it is. And it's on a rope. You don't see very much arc on this ball at all. A beautiful catch, and that's how Mahomes gets in the end zone. Now, on the flip side, there's this play that really goes against everything we saw earlier in the game. And it is problematic. It is a terrible play that really cost them going into the end zone. And you can see the differences straight out. They are in man-to-man coverage up on everyone. There's a little bit off here, but that's because this is Darrell Williams, running back split out. Again, they're in an empty set. This is Robinson, Dat, Kelce up here with Mecole Hardman at the top. And I don't know if there's miscommunication on the routes or not, but you're going to see that both Darrell and Mecole are not going to run into the end zone, giving both two of those shallow targets. I think one of them definitely should have driven into the end zone and then come back out. I think that probably would have been better with Mecole Hardman, but you're going to see that the man coverage with the two over the top is really going to help them, and it's going to allow what the pass rush is going to do that we'll look here in the opposite view in just a second. And as we get rolling, what we see is that from the snap, nobody's really getting any separation. A few yards in here, Kelce's getting mugged once again. Teams are being very, very deliberate in just how much physical contact they are getting him. And quite frankly, between his frustration level and showing it the other night, and just not being able to get a lot of separation, it seems to be working so far. The other thing that you'll notice is that right here, this is the route that it has to be out of his hand by now. That's hit this slant, and he's actually got a step on the guy, but there's this safety lurking. So if you just want to take a few yards, just dump it down and hit the ground, and it's a done deal. Demarcus Robinson is in tight coverage over here and manning up with it pretty well. And Darrell has just taken a couple of steps and is just sitting right down, waiting to be the safety valve of all things. So far, not a ton of penetration. And as we inch forward, that's where it breaks down. Irving goes down, and that really lets the hounds loose. Dat has not continued his route and has sat down and now has let the coverage come to him. Both the safeties have creeped up looking for those crossers as Robinson's starting to move inside, and Mecole has stopped for some reason. I don't know if that's designed or, again, if he's driving into this end zone, he can then work back to his quarterback if he's in trouble, and I think that's something they'll definitely be working on this week. And right now, the pressure's getting to him. He tries to bail out like we saw in the last one. But right now, it's a free-for-all. Every single lineman has lost. And that is just unacceptable. I don't know what they can do to fix that. Obviously, they're making moves this week. But that's something that's going to have to be a pain. They have to buckle down. These guys have to get it blocked up better because this is hunting season on Patrick Mahomes over here. And again, what we see is double over here. Dat running around loose. Robinson is occupied. Darrell's starting to dive towards the end zone. Really, Darrell could have driven across the field and maybe given Mahomes a better option. And Hardman, again, is just kind of standing still, not really doing much. Now he should be driving back to his quarterback, and that probably should have been a couple of seconds before that as well. Now, Mahomes is fired up, and he's trying to get back out here. We'll take a look at the pressure, and this is classic. You have the tackle occupied by one of the tackles, the A-gap on the opposite side occupied, and two wide nines. Now, this is a challenge athletically for the tackles because, A, you have a power rusher over here in Justin Houston. Schwartz knows him very well, and yet it's still going to be a problem. And you have a speed rusher out here. Even though Irving is athletic, it's still a big challenge. And you can see that he's already focused well outside. Cam's focused well outside at what this rusher is doing, whereas Schwartz is trying to get a beat on whether they're going to do some kind of stunt or if he's going to have to take this guy who's heads up. LDT has turned well to the outside, and they're trying to figure out just what's coming at them. And it really is not terribly strange. It's pretty straightforward. What you see is engagement, and from the get-go, pretty basic. The speed rush has already gotten upfield, and Cam Irving has turned. This is the first sign that a tackle's beaten already. He's not kick-stepping back. He's turned his shoulders, and he's going to take another step here pretty quick, and that's when you know that it's all over. Ducking down, Dre's going to get underneath. Cam's actually going to fall down, and that's going to be the big problem here. Now, when we back it up, We're going to see, again, same perspective over here. Schwartz is going to look like it's going to engage, but this tackle is going to come down in towards LDT and engage him, leaving Houston on the outside. And as Schwartz kicks back, you'll see what the tackle should be doing. Moving back. And I think what you'll find is right here, if you talk to Ms. Schwartz, he's going to tell you he's got to play with his hands a little bit higher, ready to make contact. Just too low because he doesn't get a good stab. It lets Houston into his body, and Houston's ripping underneath at this point. Gets through and is now pressuring Mahomes out of the pocket, letting everybody else clean up. Again, if we back it up, we will see that that's really the key to it. These interior pass rushers are getting some ground. Not exactly sure if it's just the newness with the interior three having to replace Wiley. That's never great, but Hunter doesn't get obliterated here. He does push his guy to the outside, but as everything else flushes Mahomes, that allows him to come around to the front, and there's just no escape at this point. Like I said, every single lineman has now been beaten, and there's nowhere for Patrick to go. They take him down, and that's the end of that. Now, lastly, for this video, I want to take a look at the Matthew interception. I'll have more on him and a couple of other things for a bonus video, probably tomorrow, another film room. Just keep that in mind. But Tyrann's lined up here. Classic split safety look. Guys in man under, basically. This is a cover 2 man from its initial alignment. This is Sorensen in the back as well. You'll see him in the other view. And they come out in 12 personnel. This is double tights to one side. And that actually kind of plays into what the Chiefs are doing, because you're going to have Damian Wilson here on one of those tight ends. And that's a matchup that he can generally win, or at least hang with. And then the safety in the back, playing that deep half, he's actually going to split where half of these deeper patterns are going to go. This is Mo Claiborne getting some time in up here in his first game action here up on the corner. As we roll forward, you're going to see that Matthew's just dropping. Pretty simple so far. And this is Jacoby Brissett looking where he wants to go pretty much the whole time. Mo's actually passed off here because there's a back sitting up on here that he's got to be aware of. And this is where the pass-off would normally come with Matthew coming down on this particular route. But Wilson's got this one covered. And at the time, if you look at the way that this is aligned, it is possible, without being down on the field view, I can't say for certain, but it is possible that because of this alignment and the fact that Matthew was playing a little bit low, just kind of keeping himself crouched almost, you could think that Brissett just didn't see him back there where he was, as this line almost goes through where that tight end route is, and he might be in a position where Brissett can't see him, but he can see Brissett, and that's what it looks like to me, is he jumps this route, knowing that he would be taking this farther into the end zone if needed. But here, he's just stepped outside. He's got a beat on the ball, and he realizes it's getting thrown at him, and he's got it well in hand. Just jumps in front. Pretty simple. The back's there to make him dodge. And this is a pretty nice run back, to tell you the truth. Although I'd like to see the defensive linemen get their butts in gear and start making blocks, Derek Nottie and Chris Jones. Let's go forward, people. Heck of a play by Matthew, but it could have been made a lot better if everybody put out after the catch. From the backside, same alignment. This is Wilson checking this double tight. Frank's going to be rushing Sorensen over here. This is going to be an interesting one, too, because as you watch what happens with the line, this is another, not replacement, but this is a way that Spags is trying to show one thing, a straight cover 2 man under, and do something different. As we roll forward, watch Derek Nottie. A little fake and gets down into that bottom. What it did in the meantime, and I'll back that up, as we roll forward, what it does in the meantime is gets Ogbo one-on-one. And he makes a good push. Didn't get home, but you see, obviously, they're focusing on Chris Jones. This was meant to be a pretty quick hitter, and the ball's already out. Not much that Nottie can do here. Frank around one side. Nog was getting the late double. He still makes a pretty good push, and I liked seeing that from him. And again, as we get forward, hey, Neiman's doing his job. Guys are looking downfield, just not Nottie. And Chris Jones is standing around, too. This could have gone for a longer return. I would have liked to have seen that. Nice cleanup from Mo, too. Now, that said, I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is an effort play. This is a great play by Matthew. It could have been enhanced with a little bit more attitude and a little bit more push from some of the other players. But this all comes from a disguise in dropping Noddy out of what looks like a straight cover 2 man under. Now, that's what I have for you this week, at least on the Wednesday show. Let me know what you guys think. If you have anything in particular that you want to see on here, I'll be back with a few more plays tomorrow. There's a lot to go over. I'm going to take a particular look at Colin Saunders because he's going to have to play a bit. They did make a signing on Tuesday, but I don't think it's going to affect the rotation right off the bat. I think it's going to be depth here until he gets into the scheme. But I want to know what you guys think. Please leave your comments below. Leave a thumbs up if you like this particular video. Make sure you're subbed and you click the notification bell so you find out when something new goes up. And what I want to say is thank you to everybody who's been supporting and watching these. If you like this format, please let me know that too. Check out these videos as they come up on your screen now, and I'll check you next time.